Hey guys, welcome back. Today I thought I would do a little bit of a different video than any that I've really done so far, and I'm hoping to be able to kind of do more of these in the future, I think. But today I want to talk to you a little bit about kind of the history of products. This is going to be a conversation that has to do with some styling, it has to do with some history, it has to do with some comparisons, that sort of thing. If you have been in the business for as long as I have, I mean, if you rode your dinosaur into work like I did back in the day, just kidding. But seriously, if you've been in the business for as long as I have, or even if you haven't been in the business but you have really been in love with beauty and fashion for even half as long as I have, and if you are really, truly obsessed with it and really, truly educated on it, then your memory is very long. And so, like me, when you see things that are just a repeat or a rehash of things that were done before, you recognize it right away. Or if we're just kind of repeating older styles, you recognize it right away. Or, you know, even not the downside of it so much in that you kind of see repetition, but in that you, it makes you much better at kind of the styling, when it comes to styling yourself or other people, because you've got this history and these memories and this backstory that you can really sort of work from to help to, you know, pinpoint style or really do comparisons of products and that sort of thing. And so I was thinking a lot about that, and a few products recently have really kind of spurred this this on for me. And so what I thought I would do today, or start doing as of today, is pulling things out of the vault, so to speak. Partially to do some comparisons, partially to kind of show you how things constantly, you know, come back around, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. You know, to sort of see how things get, you know, rehashed or reused, but also to sort of help you shop your stash if you've been buying for a long time, or maybe if your funds right now are limited. You know, there might be some things that I can kind of spur your memory and help you to put, you know, looks together with a limited budget, based on maybe you can get one or two pieces but you can't get the full look, and so you can go back into your stash though and pull out things from years ago that actually would still apply to the look today. Okay, so I know that seems a little bit confusing, but you'll kind of see what I mean as we go. So the first thing I want to talk to you about today is I showed you guys this shirt, which is a new shirt from Avon, and it's this, you know, sparkly silver tank, and this is a shirt that I wore in the recent video shoots that we did in New York. And if you have been around for a long time like I have, then you probably may or may not remember this shirt, which is also by Avon. So very similar, two very similar items. So what I thought I would do today is, some of you may have this already and maybe thinking, well, I've got that one, do I need the new one, or what's the difference, or, you know, how is it even different, what makes it more modern, you know, why is the style now different from the style that was before, that sort of thing. So let's just do general comparisons of the products. Now, this is kind of a long tank, which came about sort of after the baby doll shirts came into play. We started to go a little bit longer with tanks and things, but they were more fitted when we first started, and not everybody could really wear them because not everybody had long torsos and not everybody had long slim torsos. So this kind of still falls within the long and slim look from, you know, a decade ago. It is also kind of a racerback style, not an extreme racerback, but it's more of a typical you know, your typical tank that you would probably wear or layer with other items. You know, you would wear it under or layer it with other items. The material itself is, you know, your kind of regular, casual, you know, cotton style tank. The front with the sequins, there is a, the sequins are basically sewn into, directly into, you know, the layer of the shirt, the front layer of the shirt. And so because there's quite a bit of seaming, this can be a little bit, you know, scratchy. Some people might have wanted to layer, you know, if that bothers them in any way. It never really bothered me, but, you know, some people are more sensitive than I am. And then this is just a standard solid pattern of sequins. The sequins are just in lines. They're straight lines down and straight lines across. So, you know, the entire front of the shirt is, you know, very symmetrical and taken up with sequins. Now, the downside to that is if there were any kind of errors at all in manufacturing, it makes it a little more obvious. I mean, people still are not really going to see it, you know, for the most part, but if you're really picky when you're shopping like I am, that kind of thing irritates you. It irritates me. So, for example, here are, you know, there are a couple lines across here that were layered too close together, so it makes it a little uneven, and then you can actually see there's a little spot where that kind of caught up to them, and there's a little spot here where the sequins got bunched up here, and it left kind of an empty spot. Now, nobody can really see that from a distance, and a lot of you will remember, you know, when companies really started putting sequins on things, I mean, most of the time they weren't even, sequins were falling off, and they didn't do a good job of tying the strings down or even string cutting to begin with, and it was a little bit sloppy. So this is actually a very well made, you know, tank from that time. Okay, so what's different now about the style? If you're thinking, if you have that tank or one similar to it, and you're thinking, I don't know, do I really need the new one or not? Let's talk about the differences. Well, first of all, this is a long tank, but it's also you'll see it's a lot looser in the body. It's a lot wider in the body. And so we have figured out over time that we are not necessarily long and skinny. We might be long, but we're not necessarily, you know, super tiny, or we don't necessarily want things super fitted in the waist anymore. So the body is wider. The fabric is a little bit of a dressier fabric. It's still like a nylon and polyester type shirt. But you can see this is kind of a more dressed up fabric, you know, where the other one is a little more casual. So this might be a little more suitable for a few different, you know, dressier occasions than necessarily the other one. I would say you're probably going to be layering something over them both, at least nowadays. You know, back then just going out in a tank was pretty typical, and so you would have, you know, been able to just wear this and gone straight out, but we're a lot more into layering these days, so you're more likely to layer with this piece. And the back is more sheer, which is, you know, on trend now too, so you're probably going to layer just because you're going to want that covered up. Now let's talk about the sequins. First of all, I explained to you guys before that this is basically double layered. They didn't sew the sequins into the front fabric this time, so this is nice and soft on the inside. You're not going to feel any of that stitching. There's a mesh overlay, you know, where they sewed the sequins onto, and then they sewed the mesh overlay onto the fabric down at the bottom. Okay, and these sequins are, there's kind of like, you know, swirly patterns with them. Okay, so they're not as uniform, which is good in a lot of ways. And you'll also see that there's a big difference. I mean, these are big sequins, these are smaller sequins, and that's part of what makes it a little bit more modern. The design makes it a little bit more modern as well, and that design also gives it a little bit of more interesting sort of dynamic. You know, it sparkles in a different way. I mean, obviously they both sparkle, but it sparkles in a different way. This is a little more disco ball, you know, and this is a little more like sophisticated, or a little more dimension, right? Okay, and then the other good thing about the fact that the pattern is not, you know, a standard symmetrical pattern, that it has these swirls, is that if there are any kind of mistakes in the manufacturing, which is very easy to do with sequins, you know, they stick together and, you know, they flip over and all kinds of things. So it can be easy for there to be mistakes in the manufacturing. You're not going to notice them as easily in this. I mean, you're really going to have to take time to stop and look and, you know, try to find where there might be a mistake. And I think also too, because this is sewn down to the mesh first, there is a little less seaming involved in this one, which also makes it a little bit dressier and a little bit fancier. Okay, so there's some obvious differences. I mean, these are the same shirt. For all intents and purposes, these are basically the same shirt. You would wear them, for the most part, in a lot of the same ways, but they also are very different. And, you know, you can kind of see the progression of style. Even though these are the same thing, you can see that the style has progressed in very minimal, you know, subtle ways, but it has changed. So, you know, if you're one of those people who has the older one and you're kind of wondering, do I need the newer one? I mean, that, of course, is going to be up to you. But at the same time, you know, this is going to be more modern and sophisticated. And I honestly think you could still wear both. So, you know, I would say, you know, this is going to be kind of an upgrade in your wardrobe in a lot of ways. This is going to be a little dressier, but, you know, I sort of feel like they could have the completely same purpose, or you would use them in completely different ways. Okay, so there's that. Also, I want to talk to you about this shirt again. There actually is a detail that I forgot to tell you about when I introduced this in my Ready, Set, Shop video, which is that you can kind of roll these sleeves up. There is a little button sort of halfway up the sleeve, and on the inside of the sleeve there is, you know, that sort of strip of fabric with, you know, the buttonhole, so that you can roll the sleeve up and attach this to the button, and it holds your sleeves up, you know, at about your elbow. So that is a detail that I forgot to mention before, so I want to make sure I told you guys about that. Okay, so I wanted to kind of talk about the vault again and say, okay, well, you know, they do a really good job in the catalog of sort of putting together outfits for you. You know, they sort of show you like how to wear something and what jewelry, you know, they purposely design jewelry to go with it and all that kind of thing. So, you know, obviously they have the leggings that go with it and they have jewelry that go with it and all that. But maybe, you know, we're in a recession and maybe you can't afford the entire look right now, or you're not really sure how to piece things together. But if you have been shopping for, you know, a long time, and you've been around for a long time, there's a really good chance that you already have some things in your wardrobe that could go with this. Because the truth of the matter is that color is color. And there are, you know, a gazillion different shades of color in this world. But in all reality, for the most part, the same colors always go with the same colors. And the same colors that don't go together tend to always not go together. And so you tend to see these color groupings sort of come around again and again and again over the years because they just go well together. The only exception to that rule is, you know, like, there are a few exceptions, but a good example would be black and navy blue. There are times where black and navy blue, the trend rule is no, those don't go together at all. And then there are times where a trend comes through and then all of a sudden they do match again, right? So there are some examples of some colors that really are driven by trend, whether they go together or not. But visually speaking, for the most part, there are, you know, a lot of colors that you can expect to see come around again and again and again in groupings, just because they go so well together. And, you know, there is sort of a limitation on the colors that we manufacture to some extent, even though there's almost, you know, it seems like there's practically an infinite number of colors, you know, available on the planet. We do have limitations in a lot of ways in how we manufacture products and colors. So you'll see the same colors come around again and again. Okay, so what I decided to do was to go back into the vault and pull out some old products that you may already have from years ago, where this color pattern was kind of popular in the past, and you can easily use those products with this. So, you know, we see, I mean, the most there's a dark pink here. There's a lot of variations on pink, and then 2 kind of shades of pink here in the flowers, you know, kind of a medium pink and a light pink. And then there's the teal blue, and then there's kind of this more intense sort of limey green yellow. It's a yellow, but it's got a hint of kind of a limey green to it. And this is a paler yellow. And then we have like the grass green here. So you have an idea of, you know, the colors that are throughout the shirt. And it's basically a cream. You know, the base color is a cream, in case it's not coming up on video. So I went through the vault and I dug out some products from the sort of last time that these colors sort of came around together. And these, I believe that these are actually Mark jewelry items for the most part. The first ones I'm going to show you. And I'm going to start with these earrings. And this is basically like a set. You know, they didn't sell them as sets, but you know, they put the whole look together and you could buy the pieces that you wanted. So here are these earrings, and you can see in them they have that tealish blue, they have the lemony lime, you know, green, the lighter shade and the darker shade, and there's, you know, the cream from the pearl, the cream colored pearl. And so this is basically sort of the blue colors and the greenish yellow colors together. And then they also had the pink version. So here are all the pink colors together. So you've got, you know, that raspberry pink, you've got that medium pink here, and you've got, you know, the lighter pinks in some of these little smaller beads that are trying to hide down in there. And also in these beads here at the bottom are 2 different lighter pinks. Okay, so this is, you know, these are the same earrings, but you had color options. And then you could also purchase the necklaces, which if you remember, you know, kind of the late 90s, early 2000s, kind of the Y necklaces were in. So that's what these are. But you see there's the pink one and there's the, you know, greeny blue one. And necklaces have evolved to some extent right now. Right now the trend is, it's not that they've evolved, but it's that, you know, we're on a different trend where the trend now is more, you know, chunky statement necklaces. But all things come back around, and, you know, dainty necklaces are going to work their way back in. So, and this also can give it kind of a retro, you know, vintagey feel if that's what you're looking for. So if you have one of these necklaces, go pull it out. And then of course they came with rings, or they had rings as well. So I just have the blue-green one here. My pink one is in a purse somewhere. So again, it's just the same stones, and it's just like a jingly ring. Okay, so if you have any of those pieces or anything similar to that, or anything from that kind of same time frame, they're going to go with this new blouse. And then we also have, now these items are Avon items. Those were Mark, I believe, but these are Avon. We also have some other jewelry. If you recall when J-Lo got engaged and got her, you know, amazing pink ring that was like the big craze right before she got unengaged. But you know, these style of rings were very popular, and so I have 2 here. Here's the pink version, and here is the lemony yellow version, which is, you know, an exact match for the pinks and the lemony yellows in this top. And we also had this one, which came out a little bit after those. You know, it's kind of after the J-Lo trend. But this is a nice rose quartz one that has, you know, the pretty rose quartz in the middle and kind of the more intense, the medium pink shades on the sides. So, you know, again, a perfect, you know, goes perfectly well with the pinks in the shirt. So, you kind of see where I'm going with this, which is that, you know, trends always come around again. And if you store all this information in your brain like I have, you're going to pick up on that stuff right away. And you don't necessarily, if you are struggling financially or what have you, you don't necessarily have to go the full look. You can create your own style by sort of mixing and matching kind of the different genres, so to speak. And you know, again, the trends right now are not to be too matchy-matchy. So, like what I did, for example, was I wore the pink earrings the other day with this shirt, but then I wore the yellow ring, you know, to offset. I didn't want anything to be too matchy-matchy. I was not going to wear the pink earrings with the pink necklace with, you know, the pink ring, you know, or vice versa. I mixed it up a little bit, and that's how you keep it looking modern, is that, you know, right now we're not into being super matchy-matchy. We're into kind of contrasting. And while none of these are contrasting colors, you can still contrast by, you know, using the different colors in different sections. So, you know, this ring and these earrings are definitely, you know, contrasting pieces, right? But they all still go together. The look still goes because, you know, those hints of color can all be found somewhere within the shirt. And you have to remember that my pants were this deep teal jeggings color, you know, this very intense color. So these two colors with those intense blue pants are definitely contrasting colors, right? Okay, so you see where I'm going with this, and I kind of have this idea to sort of try and do this sort of thing for you, whether it be pull out, you know, past pieces to help educate you on kind of, you know, mixing the styles together, or it might be to compare, you know, like maybe if it's a lipstick, I might do some comparisons with, you know, past lipsticks or what have you, just so you really kind of know, I don't know, just so you can really kind of start to put things together in your mind. I'm hoping this will help you, number one, either to educate you on how to put your style together, even using the things that you already have, or number two, to help you kind of shop your stash or go back into the vault or pull out old pieces that maybe you forgot that you had, or number three, just to kind of, you know, follow the history of things and kind of just see how fashion evolves and just sort of educate yourself, you know, in that way as well. Because I am older than dirt, and I have seen, you know, all of these styles come and go and come and go and come and go and come and go and come and go again. So I just want to kind of help share the knowledge that I have, and maybe maybe in whatever way it helps you, it helps you. So I do hope this was helpful, and I do hopefully intend to do more videos like this and be able to break products down in more detail, you know, whether it be a new product that I get or pulling out something old, what have you. So if you like this idea, you know, let me know. If you want to see more of these, let me know. And if this was helpful to you at all, let me know. And also let me know how it was helpful, because the more feedback I get from you as far as, oh, I really didn't know that, or I didn't think about that, or oh my gosh, you know, I have that, thank you so much. It kind of will help me to steer the videos in the future to know what's most helpful, and you know, to kind of steer and mold these videos in the way that will work best for all of us. So anyway, there's that, and if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe. And I did just post a video. It's basically the My Boyfriend Does My Makeup video tag, or tag video, but I had my 4-year-old niece do it. So if you didn't see that, then take a look, because it's really cute. It's kind of a long video, but it's worth it. The giggles you will get in just watching it are definitely worth it. So, you know, grab a cup of coffee or something and, you know, kick back and watch it all the way through, because, I mean, the things that she says and comes up with are just, you'll really enjoy it. Okay, so I think that's it. I will see you guys next time. Bye.